Conservative MEP for the northwest of England. Good morning.
Morning.
Just picking up on that idea that we heard from Farouk of pledges of allegiance. I'm not sure exactly who to these pledges would be made, but to whom I should say these pledges would be made. But do you think in theory that's the right idea? I don't know, allegiance to the country? How would it work?
Well, I think actually this is an issue which for a very long time has simply not received the type of discussion that it needed. And that is why I, for one, am absolutely welcoming the stance that Prime Minister David Cameron is taking in making this speech. Look, this is not a new issue. I recall in very clear terms, I have had constituents going right the way back into the 90s who have found themselves fighting in foreign wars after having gone through a process of effectively grooming. And at that time, it involved foreigners coming from places like Afghanistan in order to try and take hold of young minds and convince those young men to go and fight in wars that had nothing to do with them. Today, it's being done in a much more basis, mainly through social media and internet. This is not something new, and the fact that it's been allowed just simply to carry on for so long, gives even evidence to the fact that actually today we have a Prime Minister of this country who is willing to stand up and say it must be faced.
But he's saying that you need to.
The Muslim community has actually been calling for many decades.
Okay, but he's saying he's talking about the problem of non-violent extremists and the view of the so-called, as he puts it, Jewish conspiracy, that actually that's behind all the world's ills, which some might say is a widely held view, but not just amongst Muslim people. So is he saying that people cannot have a certain life philosophy? Is this thought police by a different name?
No, I mean, that is certainly not in the text of the speech that I have considered in some considerable detail. And that is not something that has come through in any of the conversations that I have had directly with the Prime Minister when these matters have been discussed. Now, to try and extrapolate that to be the end result of what he is trying to achieve here, I'm afraid, is in itself serving the purpose of those people who want to get hold of these very young, and may I say it, very, very bright British minds, and to try and convince them that they do not belong in Britain. The fact of the matter is that, yes, we do issue when it comes to integration, and we do have people who are effectively making it their full-time business to try and take hold of these young minds and coerce them to go out there and commit some very terrible acts, and that is something which must be faced.
Is it helpful, do you think, to hear the Prime Minister talk about the destruction of the caliphate?
Well, with the caliphate, I mean, they are as much a caliphate in the true sense of the word as they are either Islamic or a state. So far as particular use of language is concerned, that's something that I think the Prime Minister can better describe. It's not language that I would have used.
No. I mean, I just wonder if, again, for many, that will irk them, this idea of kind of Western imperialism and determining the kind of future direction of other parts of the world. That kind of sits uncomfortably, doesn't it?
Well, once again, I mean, I don't want to get into a situation where we the media to try and give this a presentation that it really should not have. That is a particular word that is being used by the Prime Minister. I think it's best for him to try and explain why he has used it. But as a British Muslim parliamentarian, member of the British Muslim community here in the United Kingdom, it is not a description that I would have used, and neither are they that I have said in the true sense of the word. They are as much a caliphate as they are either Islamic or a state.
All right, thank you very much indeed. That was the Conservative MEP, Sajjad Karim. Sorry, for just one moment I lost the name. Sajjad Karim.